Next, is it last post for the Royal Mail? Yesterday they were in the High Court to appeal a £9.5 million fine they'd been given for losing or damaging so much post. Well, in a minute we'll be asking their marketing director why they're getting it wrong, especially when they've had centuries to get it right.
We've trusted them with our mail for hundreds of years, ever since Henry VIII appointed the first Master of the Posts. In Victorian times, all post office workers had to sign a declaration before a magistrate, promising to protect the post. But now, things are different.
These days, Royal Mail lose or damage over 250,000 letters and parcels every week. So are they really doing enough to keep our post safe?
Michael Bourne doesn't think so. For the past 2 years, some of his most valuable post, like credit cards and bank statements, hasn't arrived. Or at least, not to him.
So tell me what you think's happening.
Someone is stealing my mail and using it for ID theft. Whoever's got me mail has got me details, because I'm now getting debt recovery letters with them details. It's stressful, it's upsetting, and it's nothing I can do about it.
And how have Royal Mail responded?
I'll get standard replies, they'll say they'll look into it, they'll pass it on to the delivery manager, who never gets back to me. Or they say there's no problem with the mail delivery in my area.
Do you think they care? Are they taking your complaints seriously?
No, not at all. Their behaviour is atrocious. They don't care for the customers. If they did, they'd sort it out.
Over 21 billion items are posted each year, but more than 15 million are lost. Industry regulator Postcom has fined Royal Mail over £9.5 million for failing to properly protect the mail in its care. Royal Mail appealed that penalty, but yesterday they lost. Postcom say we're entitled to expect our mail will reach its destination.
There are ways to make your post safer, like having it signed for on delivery. That costs more, but Royal Mail says you'll get peace of mind. So, worth every penny?
Andrew Fleming trusted Royal Mail's recorded sign-for service to bring his passport and visa back from the embassy of Nepal. The embassy posted the package, but several weeks later they told Andrew that the packaging had been returned to them.
They said that actually they'd received the empty envelope, which looked like it had just been torn open. I was very concerned because it looked like somebody had actually stolen the passport from it.
Andrew asked Royal Mail to investigate, but nothing happened.
The impression I got was that thousands of items of mail go missing, and it's not unusual.
Andrew paid nearly £100 for a new passport. Due to their own compensation rules, Royal Mail gave him only £32.
The least that Royal Mail could do would be to address the issue of compensation quickly and efficiently, and they didn't do that.
Experts say Royal Mail has got complacent.
Customer service is very variable at Royal Mail. At its best it's fine, at its worst it simply makes a bad situation a great deal worse for the customer. Royal Mail have yet to learn the lesson that they must put things right as soon as possible when things have gone wrong.
Whether it's first class or recorded signed for, it seems that Royal Mail don't always get it right. But then there's special delivery, guaranteed to arrive the next day, and up to £500 compensation if anything goes wrong. Which it won't. Will it?
Kate Hinchley had a delicate china sink to return to the company she bought it from. She paid £18.50 to send it special delivery. It reached its destination, but in several pieces.
I did at least feel that because I had paid extra to send it special delivery, there at least would be some insurance and compensation would be payable.
Kate sent Royal Mail a compensation form and her original receipts by recorded signed for. But 3 weeks later, they still hadn't arrived. Must have got lost in the post.
Kate had to send another claim form and get hold of photos of the damaged item. But Royal Mail refused to pay out. The reason? She'd only sent duplicate receipts. Even though it was their fault, the originals hadn't arrived.
I can't begin to describe actually how frustrating it was to be fobbed off time after time after time.
Eventually, Kate thought her luck had changed.
I was quite flabbergasted when they actually told me a month after I'd posted it that my original claim form had in fact turned up.
Good news, it would seem. But now Royal Mail said they wanted to inspect the sink and its packaging. But after all this time, the company she'd sent it to had thrown it out. So she got nothing.
I just believe that it's absolutely not right that a company that has a virtual monopoly should behave in this way to its customers when things go wrong.
They must take all customer complaints very seriously indeed, and too often they seem not to be doing so. We receive upwards of 10,000 complaints every year. When things go wrong, Royal Mail are not good enough at putting them right.
They lose letters, they don't deal with complaints, and yet Royal Mail are saying they need to put the price of stamps up. But why should we pay more for a service that's starting to look distinctly second class? Well, with me is Alex Batchelor, the Royal Mail's Marketing Director. Thank you for coming in. A fine of over £9.5 million in the High Court yesterday, today this. It must make for uncomfortable viewing for you.
I think the reality is any customer who's had a poor experience with us, we certainly apologise unreservedly to. In the case of Kate and Michael and Andrew, you know, that's all we can do. The reality, however, of what we ought to kind of make clear is this situation is well over 99.9% of all the 23 billion items sent in the UK arrive safely and securely at their destination, even often when they've been poorly addressed. And the reality of what we try and do each day is look after our customers. Clearly you have a few examples where that hasn't been done to the level that we would...
Well, a few examples. The Royal Mail, this is a big brand in the United Kingdom, lose 15 million items of post every year. But it's not just items of post you're losing, is it? It's people's trust as well.
I think in terms of trust, one of the things that maybe Postcom haven't and Postwatch haven't pointed out is that actually the amount of complaints in the UK is falling dramatically. Quality of service, the number of complaints is falling dramatically, the amount of mail we lose is falling dramatically, and the quality of service in the UK has increased significantly in the last few years.
Where does the post go? 15 million items lost. Where do they go?
In 23 billion items, clearly there are going to be some where we just don't know. You know, when you're handling well over 80 million items every night.
Let's talk a little bit about Michael Baldwin, who I spent time with in our film. He's been telling you for 2 years that his post has systematically gone missing, and for 2 years you've pretty much ignored him. He feels that he's being fobbed off and you're not taking him seriously.
We absolutely haven't, in this case, fobbed Michael off.
2 years.
The reality is we are investigating and have continued to investigate what is happening in Michael's case.
Alex, thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There's been a major development in one of our biggest stories of last year. You may remember Watchdog